And you're going to tell me how to set up.
Okay, yeah, all you need for you is just going to be literally an application that's automatically on here. It's called Photo Booths. That's it. So I'm doing the YouTube, and you're going to do the other one. No, I know. No.
Okay, all right. Let me go to the car and get my.
Okay.
And then I'll get
I wonder if I can
so
record
that we can
it.
both plug into it.
Okay. Okay.
Don't let that fall.
Okay, I won't. All right. Two minutes. Okay. I turned it over. Okay. They're legit. Yeah. All right. I had to turn that around. I'm not just there sitting. Yeah, I know. We should have. That's how we're gonna end it. Yeah. All right. I am gonna need my phone back at the very end, just because I have to play a song on here. So, all right. There you go. Okay.
Let's see. What I need to do.
I'm just gonna walk around and tell people to get their lunch.
Sure. Hey, stranger. Good. Hey, I'm at. Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, yeah, this is like an event that I helped my friend Megan put together. So, sorry. Okay, so, Oh my god.
Yeah, like
If I go to sleep. Okay, so
you need
go to
no.
go
Go
to
and then it's gonna be this like kind of
what is it? Oh, photo booth.
yeah. I need water. We're just gonna shift down. I also well, no, actually, you guys can and then also.
Come on.
We're all like, the other two things. If you guys can just talk about it. Tell me to like quiet down. People are always all right. There you go. I zip. Okay, so actually, what you'll want to hit is this one. Yep. And then
Yeah,
you'll
that's not that I can just stand here. I can just watch it.
Whenever it's ready, just. Oh my gosh.
I want it to get full.
All right, we're good. We're good. Yeah, they know nothing. Yeah, and you know what? And if I one that and we'll feel it out. Yeah. I think that's right. You know, all right. Yeah.
Nothing's really like. There we go. Should we put that like between the two chairs?
No, actually, I'm only gonna sit here.
You're gonna sit. Oh, well, I meant the speaker booth.
Oh, well, we might not even use it. We're gonna have to sit. Okay. All right. Good. Hello. This is helpful if you want. There it's not. All right. So you guys get to vote if we use a microphone or if we just talk. So I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves with their name and tell us if you want us to use a microphone or to just speak. So that's up to you guys. You can just say your name and then use your voice. See if they can hear you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Joe Janusa.
Kimberly Kanda, Sarah Bowfinger, Monique Washington Jones.
Do we need to speak? We need to. That's fine. That's totally fine. Okay. So bear with us. We're going to be pretty imperfect tonight, and we're just going to be passing this around. This is our first time doing it, and I'm just grateful for all of you to be here. Mr. Pat, how is the volume? Do we need it louder, you guys? Please be honest. A little bit? Sure. Okay, how's that? Good? Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to kick off tonight, and I just want to welcome everybody here and share with you that I am both exhilarated and excited and convicted about what True Conversations is about, but also I'm feeling really vulnerable right now. So that's what this is about. And I know that that's okay. And what calms my fears every single time I think about that is that this is the message we want to be sending out to the world, is that you get to be imperfect and you get to have two different things going on in your life, and you don't have to keep up a facade anymore. You can be transparent, and that actually brings more value to the table. So welcome to True Conversations premiere event. Tonight we're going to be talking about redefining health. And a lot of people have asked me, and after this event, they'll be asking you, what is True Conversations? True is actually an acronym, which you might not have realized. And it's really standing for being transparent, real, uplifting, and empowering. So it models a process in which we can most effectively facilitate positive change, whether you're a leader, whether you're a parent or a spouse, or you're just trying to better your own life. It also stands for a culture that we're hoping to exemplify, first by becoming all of those things ourselves, and then in turn giving permission to others to do the same. Tonight, we're going to metaphorically sit down on the floor next to each other, look into each other's eyes, let you know it's okay wherever you're at right now. And then when you're ready, we're going to lock arms and rise up together. We may have glitches tonight. We actually have some virtual viewers right now who may or may not be hearing me say my words in the same order as you are. And that's totally okay as well. Because one of the things that I had to get over when I decided to start this was letting go of the idea of perfectionism. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But one of the things I learned this past year is that the image of perfectionism and the pursuit of perfectionism actually paralyzes us. So we want movement in our lives, we want growth in our lives, and that's what True Conversations hopes to give you tonight. Let's see. I want to get right to the panel. So I'm going to just finish by giving us some ground rules. My hope for tonight is that these panelists speak to something that you have been wrestling with in your heart or that you need some validation for in your life. And I want all of us to trust in the process and let our words flow freely, without judgment, and with the intention of compassion, purpose, and empowerment. You may disagree with something that's said. Something also may catch you, and all of that is completely okay. The panelists are going to be allowed to ask each other follow-up questions for the first half, and then you as the audience, when the time comes, are going to also be able to ask the panelists questions. There'll be two types, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I just want to finish by saying, some people don't like that word transparent, especially in a culture when we feel like everything's out in the open already on the internet, on Facebook, and we don't need to know what you're eating all the time. So this is what I mean for tonight, and this is what I mean within the context of True Conversations when I say transparency. It's not letting it all hang out. It is selective and purposefully sharing your humanity with someone else so that you can meet them where they are. Being true is sitting down on the floor next to them and validating their experience so that when they can stand up on their own, you can rise up together. It is not standing above and calling for someone to just keep climbing. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to start to get to know these amazing leaders and humans in our community. And I'm going to start off actually with Monique. So, let's do this. Okay. All right, so Monique is the owner of an all-girls karate studio in Columbia, Maryland. And she's also been a student of the martial arts for 30 years. I know, she looks 25, so that's a little confusing. Yes, absolutely. And we're going to talk about that. And she also recently, her team, and I'll let her talk about the age range of the team, just competed for a spot at the World Games for Martial Arts. That's how I say it, right? In Germany this year. So, Monique, my first question for you is, tonight we're here to talk about health. How do you define health? And is it the same definition you had 30 years ago when you started martial arts? Right, so how do you define health today, and has it transformed?
So the definition of health has completely changed 30 years because I was in diapers 30 years ago. But right now, my definition, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't swear to be an expert in any way, but my definition of health is finding the balance between food and fitness, and whatever that balance is. So figuring out, if you eat seconds, how much do you have to work out to burn off those seconds? So that's my definition of health.
You've also studied one thing for 30 years. And I know there's other people on this panel who've also done things for 30 years. But not many people can say that they've dedicated a practice to something for 30 years. So can you tell us a bit about what else you've had to do or chosen to do alongside of that practice until you were able to make it your purpose and actually make it how you produced a living as well?
So it's a loaded question, right? So I think what's important to understand is that I didn't always do martial arts for source of income. Anyone that knows anything about martial arts knows that the martial arts way is to pass the tradition on and to keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. So martial arts is actually in my family. So it's passed down through my father and my sister and I did it when it was to go to the martial arts academy for females. So, and then not even, I guess, 6 years ago now that I've been doing it full time. So I think there's a difference in doing something as your passion and then doing something for income because they weren't parallel for a long time.
All right, I'm going to move on to our next panelist, Joe, Dr. Joseph Janusa, the third. So Joe is a study director for multiple trials at Johns Hopkins University, and also had competed in bodybuilding for 6 years professionally, and is the author of a men's health book for the average Joe called Average Joe, which you can get on Amazon. So Joe, my question is, because anyone, I'm fortunate enough to have known you when we worked together at Hopkins, and the minute you start talking to Joe, he's one of those people who emanates health, and it just is a natural fit that's how you pursued in your career. But I'm curious as to why you feel you really do what you do.
Lordy.
Good evening, everybody. I think it's a loaded question too. I think I could go back 20-some years and look at it from that perspective, and then currently it certainly has shifted. I think what drives me now is to serve and help others. My career has evolved to the point where I'm actually able to do that in my profession. Versus many years ago, I wasn't able to do that. But it's taken me this long to kind of get to that point in my career and my passions together. I know some folks are fortunate enough to have that. Others have to find outside means of profession to do that. But I just was able to marry the two. It's challenging work. Megan mentioned research and folks with serious mental illness. You essentially try to get them a little longer, to make it very simple, and that's a challenging thing. Yeah, so I think it's evolved, and it's certainly a passion.
So what did you do in those moments in your life when you were not able to show up to your job and fulfill your passion? How did you keep yourself alive and excited? Or what did that time in your life even look like? Because it might not have looked alive and excited either.
That's actually a great point. I actually had things just happened. Things happened in your life. Long story short, I started my career for 6 years in North Carolina in cardiac medicine. I loved my job, loved everything about it. Then my brother, very tight in my family, my brother decided he was going to have my first niece. And he lived in Delaware. And he comes to me and he says, well, I don't want my godfather living 8 hours away. So, of course, I had to buy a house, sell a house, find a job, lose a job, all those fun things. And I happened to fall into a wonderful job in Baltimore that kind of took me from where I was kind of going and tweaked me a little bit more towards my eventual passion. It just happened to fall down like that. I didn't know it at the time. I realize it now, what happened. And then that position actually landed into this position, which is kind of curving me more and more towards my passion. So it's just kind of, things just happen. Stroke of luck, people you meet, this current position, I won't even apply for it. And I'm here for 7 years, that my friend who was very good friends with, I didn't even know his girlfriend at the time, she sent me an email saying, oh, I saw nutrition and this degree in this position, and I thought Joe would be interested. I met her once, and I decided to take a look at the position and apply for it. I mean, it's just these little things that randomly happen in your life that could turn you towards your passion.
Awesome. And what I like about that story is that you knew exactly what your core values were, and family was a core value. So you let that be the determining factor in making decisions. Are you going to move up the East Coast, or are you going to stay rooted where you were in North Carolina? And that it actually was for the better that you did that.
It was. I mean, I wasn't really thrilled at the time. My brother laying that on the line like that. As a younger brother, it's like, okay, so now just because you're in a situation, I have to twist my whole life for you. But looking back, I wouldn't have changed a thing. And it was a team move and a team this and that and everything. And the team, the family got together and we just did it. So it was actually very, very good. They gave me one more firm step towards where eventually I'm headed.
Okay, and then our next person I want to introduce is Sarah. Sarah, which you can read more about in the program, designed by Josie Thompson, is currently training for the 2020 Olympics as a swimmer. And what's really exciting and unique and brave about that decision is that her body was not born as what most of us would have thought to be an Olympic swimmer. And so I want her to share a little bit more about that, and also have you answer the question how you define health for yourself today, because I know that it's very different than what it was even a few years ago.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming. So I would define health today as feeling amazing. Like I can't even describe how I was even 9-10 years ago about how unhealthy. I was very unhealthy. I can't even. And so for me, just being able to feel good, even what she was saying with the balance of the food and the exercise, I feel that is very important, and that is how you feel really good.
Yeah. One of the things that you've shared with me, and you've been public and open about it, is your struggles with alcohol addiction. And so how do you think that, or tell us more about how that experience in your life has shaped the direction your life is going in now, and what role it might have played in deciding to up your game and challenge yourself even further by training for the Olympics?
So, where can I begin with this? This is a deep question here. So, well, I actually got into alcohol when I was 17 at actually senior week, when everyone drinks, and that was actually my first time that I drank. And since then, I'm very competitive, and so I found that I actually took all my competitiveness into drinking alcohol. So I was gonna drink everyone under the table, and it was just I didn't like myself during this time. I was very angry. I wasn't a very nice person. And so then I at age 24, I was 170 pounds. And I just was why am I even doing this? This is ridiculous. I'm not the kind of person that can just drink one drink. I have to drink 20 of them to be satisfied. And so when I found that that was an issue, and I needed to actually take my competitiveness in another direction, and that was when I actually took the initiative to lose the weight. And so when I lost from 170 down to 125 now, I took it in steps. And so the first step was I cut out alcohol completely. I've been 6 years sober of no alcohol at all, which is amazing. And then the next step, sorry, this is awesome. The next step was I cut out fast food. So then when I cut out fast food, then I eventually, started just eating chicken and vegetables. And so it's been a long process for me to get even where I'm at right now. So it's been 5 years of complete exercise, cutting things out, not going back to them, just knowing that I felt better. And so when I started feeling better, that was the motivation that I got to actually perceive my goal that everyone told me that I could not do, and actually put all of my energy that I did with alcohol and all those horrible things that we do to ourselves to whatever that is that we are in our lives. And I'm now putting that to, going to the Olympics.
All right, our last panelist that I'm going to introduce, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling, is Miss Kimberly. So she is a former professional dancer, also a mother of 5, twins, then another one, and then twins again. So you can all hug her later. As a mother of 2, I mean, that just blows my mind. So, and now she has transitioned into owning an amazing, very personalized Pilates studio in Crofton, Maryland. And so I want to ask you, why you really are doing what you're doing now, but mostly how had having children affected and changed your career path? What?
Why I really am doing what I'm doing now. Dancers have a lifespan. I was lucky in that my lifespan, dance-wise, was actually longer than most. I stopped dancing professionally at almost 40 years old. Actually, that was at my last performance, Dockside Dance. Yes, it was. And that was about a little over 4 years ago now. So I actually performed up until I was almost 40, which is usually you're talking late 20s, early 30s, maybe. And then we go on to become dance teachers or choreographers or things like that. And I kind of realized that I love dancing. And it was one of those things that came easily to me. I'm going to be a dancer because I can do it. I do it well. Okay, fine. Did I really find joy in it? No, not really. I just kind of did it. So, long story short, when I was dancing for a company out in Chicago, there was a gentleman in the company who was a Pilates instructor, and he needed bodies to move on his apparatus when he was going through his training. And I said, I'll be a body. And I did this weird stuff on this apparatus, and my back felt good, and I felt like I was getting really strong, and I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. So I realized that when my dance life was over, I still had a life in movement that I could then give to others. And not only just give to others, because dance does give to others. It brings you joy, it brings, it's art, it's beautiful, it's fun to watch, but is it really changing and shaping and helping other people's lives? Well, I guess that's the point that could be argued, but Pilates could really actually help people help and
How did having children changing?
Well, actually, because it was kind of like my Pilates life really didn't start till actually post kids. I'll be honest with you. My dance life went on hiatus when I had the kids. We moved here shortly after I had the first set of twins for 10 years. I was a stay-at-home mom. And didn't really like it. I didn't. I'm being honest. to take a person who's so used to I had some fun times dancing and performing and dancing in cities and all those sort of things, and then to say, okay, you're going to sit at home and you're going to wipe butts and snotty noses at 2 at a time and have kids, and then make sure that the dinner's on the table, and I was bored. So I was counting down the days until the younger twins went to kindergarten, because it's full-day kindergarten now. So as soon as they went to kindergarten, I went back and got my Pilates certification, because I knew that that was going to be the next step and the next chapter in my life. So I kind of count that, it's chapter 1, it's chapter 2. That was the beginning of this phase of my life, was when my youngest turned 5, and I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so this next round, you're all gonna have to speak up because we're gonna go really fast. It's called our rapid round.
And I want you to just share a word that comes to you automatically. We're just going to continue to go in the same order. So Monique, and then Sarah, and Kimberly, and Joe. This is something that when we transition and you guys are able to ask them questions, we're going to take a few of you who would like to ask them a rapid question. So you're looking to create a question where they only have one word answers. This is one of the options of types of questions you can ask them later. So just say whatever comes to mind. I'm going to keep the microphone and you guys have to shout your answers. All right, I eat this every day.
Fruit. Chicken. Chocolate.
Chicken.
My emotional food is.
Anything fried. Anything sweet. Cheese.
Reese's Pieces Buttercups.
I'm most proud of.
My students. My swimming achievements. Oh, that's 3. Sorry. My swim.
So.
It is hardest for me to.
Disconnect. Talk in front of an audience. Give up control.
Relax.
People think I am.
An extrovert. Amazing. Confident.
Structure.
But I really think I am.
An introvert. Fabulous. Confident.
In control.
And last two, I am most excited about.
World Games. Swimming. The future.
Life.
I am most scared to.
Fail. Succeed. Succeed. That's an odd one to say, right? Right?
Yeah, I actually would say fail though.
Bother it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you guys for your honesty and your openness. All right, let's move it along. Sarah, this one's for you. What was the worst health advice you have either gotten or given?
Gotten or given. Whoa, let's start with gotten. Well, I'll just let, in the program it says, so I was born with hip dysplasia. I've had 7 total hip surgeries. So one thing that I would say that was the worst advice given was my doctor telling me that I could never do actually what I'm doing now. So that was, the worst. I don't really go to the doctors now. I kind of go with my own advice. I see how I feel, and that kind of thing. The worst advice that I gave someone, I don't really know if I give people bad advice, but maybe, I'm a personal trainer as well, and maybe I might have tried to put someone on a diet that maybe they didn't like, or, given them a suggestion that maybe they didn't like, but I really try not to give bad advice.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Monique. What was the best health advice you've ever gotten or given?
The worst or the best? The best.
The best health advice is there's no such thing as diet. The worst advice is eat whatever you want. Because people assume people are disciplined to work out and everyone's not disciplined enough to work it out. So, I think sometimes people say that assuming that they're going to work out and then you find out that's not the case.
Yes, I love it.
Does anyone yet disagree with either of these Monique's answers? You can disagree. All right, Joe, do you believe that someone needs to first be healthy in order to enter credibly into the health and wellness industry? Or do you believe there is more to offer to the more to offer if that person struggles with being healthy themselves?
That's a great question. I think things happen to people, and I think people it's all how they interpret that experience. If it really touches them, then it's going to direct them. Where somebody else, it may just be a passing thought. I know several folks that are in certain fields because of something that personally helped them happen to them, a family member and such, and it directed them towards a field. Yes, I don't think so. I think you could go either way on this one. I think that, you know, I know people, for example, using my dietitian profession, I know people who went into dietetics for a reason. You know, I have a very good friend of mine, one of my best friends, who was late onset diabetes and so forth, and as a certified dietitian. But myself, you know, I went into dietetics just because it was interesting, and then I evolved from there. So I think it's things that happen.
Anyone else have any thoughts? I was just gonna say that, just to piggyback off of Joe, I feel like that a lot of it is experience and like what you go through. I think that you definitely don't have to start off healthy. My driving force for health is that there's obesity in my family, there's alcoholism, and that's what drove me. Like, I don't want to be like that. So that when I wanted to quit working out, or I mean, karate kicks your butt, you know, that it was like, no, I want to do this because I don't want to go through the same health issues of my family. So a lot of times I think it is, you know, you need to see it and touch it and feel it to be able to experience it too.
I was just going to say, I mean, I agree with both of you. I think there has to be some sort of a practice what you preach. You know, if somebody comes into my studio and I'm snarking down, I don't know, you know, donuts and whatever, you know, and then saying, okay, we're all going to work out and be healthy now, then that's not exactly the right message to send. However, I do think that you have to be real. And this brought to mind, I just read an interesting article not too long ago, and it was somebody who was saying, I don't have the Pilates body. Because you see these magazines of women with six-pack abs and, you know, and sporting their cute little bra tops and booty shorts, and they're these phenomenal bodies that are probably airbrushed. And I'll tell you right now that I don't look like that when I'm in the bra top and booty shorts. 5 children aside, I don't. I do work out every day. I do my ab work, but I don't have a six-pack. I never did. I always tell my clients, it's under a layer of insulation. It's in there, but it's insulated. So, you know, again, it's just kind of being real. And I think my clients can actually vouch for that it's being honest, being open. We all have our struggles, be it with food, be it with weight, be it with what have you. But not trying to create these, you know, I don't know, ideas that they have to look or be like that.
I agree with everyone. Said it all.
Any of you, actually, I was going to say this for Kimberly, but I think for anybody to answer this, because Joe with bodybuilding, Kimberly with dance, swimming, and then, you know, with working with women all the time. And I know for Monique, you want to develop strong girls who become strong women. Each of us probably have seen an array of disordered eating, unhealthy body image. So what is your take, whoever wants to participate in this, what is your take on today's society around the topic of healthy body image? And yeah, it's like
you.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about this, but
this is next, actually. This is a preview for next month.
So, I mean, we all know it sucks, right? You turn on the radio or TV, or, you know, you listen to commercials and it's what you see. So, I mean, I think that, you know, it's my responsibility, and I chose to just train females to, it's what's inside of them. So it doesn't matter what they see from the outside. So it's kind of like their foundation. If you have a strong foundation, like, you're strong enough to take whatever is there, and being okay with yourself. And we promote martial arts as a sport that's welcoming to everyone. And you come in our dojo, and I swear, I mean, there's all colors, all shapes, all sizes, all ages, and everyone's awesome and amazing and okay with that. So my job is to make sure they're okay with that, and you're just be you. Like, it doesn't have to, you know. So I think it's building that character within a person and not worrying about what's out there.
I totally agree with her, but I was just gonna say that so when I start like a while, I mean, I'm not that old, but I mean, you know, a few years ago when I was starting to work out, like I actually thought about what I wanted to look like, and then like that kind of made my journey a little bit slower because I concentrated on like how I really wanted to look, and then I never was looking like that, and I'm like, wait a second, and so with self-love and with actually having a goal in front of me and focusing on that goal was how I was able to look and feel in the best shape of my entire life. So yeah, like the images out there, I mean, they do confuse us because they make us feel like, you know, we have to look like this or in order to feel or look a certain way, but really it's all about us and how we feel. And when we put that goal in front of us, that is when, you know, everything starts to change and you look how you're supposed to look. So however that is, you know, is how it's going to be. Why don't we all say so? Sure.
I was actually just going to tell you a little story about a client of mine. Because I agree with, absolutely. This is my most inspiring client. She is 26 years old. She has MS. She is morbidly obese. The most positive, most inspiring person that I've ever met in my entire life. And I love her because she comes in to get on the reformer, get on the equipment and things like that. And there's some days that her disease is so bad that she maybe gets 6 exercises. Half of them scare her because I don't know if you're familiar with Pilates reformers, but there's a moving carriage. So you're actually on wheels and on springs and things like that. So it could be unstable. And if you're already unstable to begin with, anyway, she always tells me, Miss Kim, she calls me Miss Kim. Miss Kim, she goes, I'm Misty Copeland. And I said, really? That's, you know, good for you. And she says, nope. She goes, I just keep seeing myself as Misty Copeland. And she goes, I know nobody else sees me as that. She goes, but every time I walk out of here, that's who I am. All right. And that's who she sees. And I'm telling you, this woman walks like she's got Misty Copeland's body. So every time I teach her, I walk out of there like I've got Misty Copeland's body. So she's got the right mindset up here.
All right. Great.
One of the last questions I'm going to ask, and we're going to turn it over after this. Whether it has been personally, like within your family, within your marriage, within friendship, or it's been your health, or it's been in your pursuit of your career, there are all times in our journeys when we're faced with so much adversity that we question our course. I'd like for each of you to tell us about a time when you felt you may be losing yourself, your direction, your values, or your meaning.
All right, so when I did move down to North Carolina, I was very tight with my family. Nobody lived anywhere in the South that I knew. I moved not knowing anybody except the person I interviewed with. Big move for somebody like me. Some people can adapt to those situations real quick. I had to struggle with it. I was challenged. I mean, I had an outgoing personality per se, but I struggled mentally very well. You know, I'm definitely a mama's boy. I mean, I was on the phone talking to mom at least a couple times a day. A couple times a day, every day. Talking to her about the challenges I was facing, and then she helped pull me through that time and everything. But that was a very challenging time in my life where everything should have been going great. You know, I just completed graduate school, my first big job, and this and that, but I just had that emptiness feeling. Things got better after the first year or two, but I struggled. That was not the darkest of dark times, but that was a dark time for me personally. And I always remember that to where I was. And you know, I do whatever I can never to go back to that point. And so I choose to surround myself with a lot of folks, a lot of positive folks, a lot of positive things in my life, just to escape those dark areas and never return.
I'll be honest with you. The time in my life when I was kind of questioning who I was and where I was going and what my point even really was when I had kids. Now, don't get me wrong. I adore them. I live for them. I love them. But it was very hard for me to go from literally having my name in lights, having a spotlight on me, and being applauded, and then being at home and changing diapers and wiping snotty noses and husband walking in saying, "What's for dinner?" So I had it's true. I had a very hard time figuring out who I was going from that Kimberly Pandra professional dancer to engaged mom. And then again, what's the next chapter in my life? And in the process of kind of figuring out who I am for phase 2, chapter 2, got into many arguments with my husband, who I love dearly, and who supports me 95%. But I'm being honest. He's laughing.
No, it's recognition.
I know, I'm just teasing. But I think he liked the mom's home, when's dinner, what's for dinner. And then I'm going, oh, hey, I'm going to start a Pilates studio. Not only that, I'm taking half of our garage over because I started in my garage with one reformer. And then, hey, you know what? I'm moving out. What? I'm renting space down the street. I'm buying another reformer. What? With what money? Oh, don't worry, I got a loan. Wait, what? You know, and then, hey, by the way, I'm moving out. We've got this big space out on Route 3. What? You know, I think he was kind of going, what are you thinking? So we have butted heads a lot. I've been very nice, and I haven't said, I told you so. But, you know, it's the last 10 years has been pretty rocky with just trying to figure out who I am and what my purpose is. And I can honestly say that within the last 2 years of moving out to my newer, bigger space and building larger clientele and being involved in things like this, that now I can say, okay, now I feel very validated in that I'm doing what I was meant to do 100%. And we were talking earlier just kind of about those little pathways that take you and lead you, okay, now I'm where my passion is. And I said earlier tonight, dancing didn't really bring me joy. Yes, it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. I did it well. But I get up every day excited to teach my clients and to make them feel better through moving through Pilates. And now I'm at the point where I feel I'm where I'm supposed to be.
So because you're at a place where you feel whole again, what would you go back and tell yourself when you were changing diapers and wiping snot? What would you tell yourself if you were able to travel back and kind of give yourself a little talk?
I think I would tell myself, don't worry, this is just a phase, really. They grow up. They do. I mean, they're now 16, 14, and 11. 16, 14, 11, 11. And, you know, they're not going to be 2 forever. They're not going to be in preschool forever. And so it's okay. Your life isn't over. It's just a phase. And I think that's, you know, 44 is young. 44 is not the end of the world. 44 can be the beginning of my story. And so that's all right. I think is exactly what I would tell myself. Just hold on. Bide your time. I tell my kids that all the time. I just should have listened to my own advice.
All right. Where do I even begin? Oh my gosh. So, I mean, clearly I've struggled a lot. I've had my 7 hip surgeries. I've, gone through alcohol. I actually was addicted to painkillers as well. So then, like, how could it even get worse, right? But I'm about to share with you what something happened to me 2 months ago. So my partner that I've been with for about 9 years decided that he did not want to continue the journey with me anymore. He helped me. I thought he was going to be there for me, and that was his choice. And so I actually hit a very, very depressive, I mean, I don't even know what happened, but it was really, really sad. And I've actually come out a lot better from that. I feel amazing. Like, I feel like I'm about to take the world now. So I'm really excited what's going to happen to me now. What I would have told myself when I was going through that, what I would have said was, it's going to get better. Everything's going to be okay. But when we have a tough time and we have someone that, we love and we feel that it's happily ever after, well, sometimes it doesn't. Whoa, see, I'm getting real here. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. And so, but for me, like, I actually wanted to give up everything. I was about to give up my Olympic dream. I was about to give up my personal training, and even Tim over there. I mean, a lot of my clients, they, really helped me through it. And I reminded myself that no guy or anyone should take away anything that I have done myself. And so the lesson here is to continue. Keep going for what you want to do. You will make it. Everything happens for a reason. I feel like this did happen for a reason, because now I'm about to be an Olympian, and I know that I'm gonna make it, and I know that I'm gonna be amazing. And so, yeah.
I'm gonna stop and hug her real quick.
Yeah. One day when you're in the Olympics, all of us are going to do is like,
I think that's just like a confirmation how real it can get. And sometimes you see this person and you think, oh my God, like she's this and this and this, and then you don't know what's going on behind the layers. And so well, thank you for doing that. I know it's hard, but I think it speaks volumes that you're able to do that. So good for acknowledging that. So I think the hardest thing for me, and it's still a struggle, is there's this, I'm a martial artist and I'm a business owner. They don't work together. So anyone that's a martial artist knows that. As a martial artist, you're taught to be humble. You don't brag about your training. You don't, it's not up in lights in your name. Like, you don't do that. Like, your purpose is to pass it down and to pass it down and to pass it down. So the hard thing for me is, with the success of our school, we opened up officially in 2007. We were the only, in 2007, there was no other female-only martial arts school. So we created the wheel. There was no such thing. So for us to be as successful and being a niche, we get a lot of exposure because of that. So it's really hard for reporters to contact me and want to do an interview. It's really hard for me to have to do a photo shoot. It's really hard for me to brag about my story. So the struggle is that as a business owner, you're supposed to like this exposure. You're supposed to say, oh yes, put me on the front page of, and I was on the front page of Howard County, and it freaked me out. Like, and I was like, oh crap, look, I'm on the front of my dad, and I'm like, I'm on the cover of Howard. Like, so I was not excited. It was because that's not what we do in martial arts. That's not why we train. So I struggle with that all the time. Right now we're going to the World Games in Germany, and we have press releases out for that. It's amazing, and I'm proud of my students, and Josie's going. She's one of the people on my team that will be representing our team, but it's hard. It's really hard to balance being a business owner and being a martial artist, because they do not work hand in hand. So I have an amazing husband who's also an entrepreneur, and he's on me, like, this is your business, this is exposure, you need to do it. And I'm like, no, I'm a martial artist. And then I have a business coach, same thing, who wants to put me on Oprah. And I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. So that's that's a really hard, I fight that. I fight tooth and nail. And again, people don't see behind the scenes when I'm fussing at people like, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to be on Fitness Magazine. I don't care if the photographer should come in here. I don't want to do a photo shoot. You're not putting makeup on me. I don't want to do that. I want to be in my karate clothes. So it's a hard struggle for me, and I continue to fight that tooth and nail. I understand as a business owner, you're supposed to be out there in lights and trying to get your name out. But I've been doing martial arts for 30 years, and that's not why we do it. So that's the biggest struggle for me. And what gets me through it is my faith. I get on my knees and pray every day, and I ask God to get me through it, my God to get me through it. And I say, I know this is what you want me to do. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Just help me get through this. And we were in Fitness Magazine a couple years ago, and they sent photographers from New York to do a photo shoot, and I was freaking out. Like, the pictures came amazing, but people didn't see behind. When I was like, I need a second, because I don't care about makeup, and I don't want to be in this picture, and it's hard. So that's the hardest thing. And of course, as with the success, this exposure comes. So I struggle, and people don't see me fussing and cussing in the back.
All right, we're going to transition. I do have other questions in case we have crickets in the audience and you guys don't have questions, but I do want to invite anyone up here, if they want to come sit up here, come sit on the couch, and get a chance, if there was a burning question that you had, that you get a chance to ask it. Yeah, Kim, you want to come up? Or if you want to just...
Can I just do it for
Yeah,
me?
sure.
I'll use my outside voice. And this is really, Dr. Joe, I think this is going to be headed your way. And you'll understand as I could just give you a little bit of background. I retired from the military. So needless to say, I was pretty broken up. Body's pretty broken. We don't do very nice things in the military to our bodies. As a result of being non-functional, I really got into health and wellness and fixing myself back up. Got involved in a health and wellness company, and then now working on getting my master's in nutrition. Okay, so I have a 24-year-old daughter who is a gymnast and a bodybuilder. At what point, and I struggle with this a lot in trying to support her, but I have a real hard time with her nutritional, biomechanical guys when they're shredding and doing the very unhealthy things they do for competition and her long-time health as a 24-year-old. So at what point does competition, and I see a little bit of this with Sarah too, and watching her as we work through, as I say we, I watch her nutrition. And she's kind of getting hopes, and it's no longer the calorie in and calorie out, it's what the calorie is about. But we watch that, and I watch her do so many unhealthy things because it's competition time. And let me tell you, when competition time means no carbs, they're not very nice people. and when you are in taking finals and pre-med to be a physical therapist, it's really not a good thing when there's no carbs involved in those finals. But yet, you can't tell a 24-year-old, this is going to have a long-term result. So at what point, she's all about right now competition. I mean, she came out first, second, and fourth in her very first competitions. She thinks she's going to do that again. I'm thinking, oh, I hope this ends. Mostly think the attitude. So where do we balance success in sports, body image, because she got into it because her gymnast folks would say she's too muscular as a gymnast, so she could never bodybuild. We'll tell you she blew that out. She did it she started out as an image issue because she had bad boy breakups. You can tell her boys don't count. So where's the line between success? That tweak is where's that tweak, and then how do we support her without completely saying?
I mean, so I can speak from direct experience from competition mode.
That's what I thought.
And there's a couple of rules that I followed, and it was a self journey with me. And I surrounded myself with like minds. So it's like when I did something with my buddies, they're doing the same thing, or my coaches and this and that. I was short with my family and times like that, you know, and that's, I'm sure that's kind of what you're getting
Same
as well.
thing,
Yeah. It's there's going to be a point in her life where something else is going to come in, whether it is when she enters the workforce after school, or maybe it is like a 5th place finish, and she says, you know what, because that's kind of what got me out of competitive bodybuilding. I was not being everything was like 1 year steroid free, and I was 100% natural. But was my blessing is that the weight classes were a wide range, and so I was always coming in as a light middleweight, almost was a lightweight. So I would go for the extreme shred look against the monsters. I was offered diuretics.
Yeah.
Personally, by a couple of good friends of mine who are medical doctors, and they were giving it to me, and I denied it. I didn't want to take anything because I was afraid. And I would never take steroids.
Luckily, she's never done that.
Yeah, well, this competition's funny, right? You know, I was backstage, it was like 50 guys. Top 5 you can never touch. They're like 40-year-old guys, they got it down to pat, so we were just all trying to get fit through for 6th to 10th place, and we figured I finished up like a 20th or the top 3rd. But I wasn't willing to take those next steps to get to that point. And that's when I bowed out. I said, you know what? Is it going to be worth it in the long haul? I started off as a bigger kid. You know, I was 217 prior to my last competition. I died it down to 167.
Well, and she's probably shred about 30 pounds.
It's hard. So I decided to be healthy. I decided to stay at that weight. So for the last 15 years, I've been at the 65 to 172 weight. And I decided to turn it more towards, this is a longevity plan for me. When I was a bigger guy, you know, just the wear and tear in the joints, you know, I was hurting myself a lot. And so now my workouts are more focused on, as I call it in my book, staying in the game. Staying in the game. I want to be long into my 80s and doing what I got to do. I love traveling. I love doing all my things. And to do that, I know that I have to focus a different angle on my workouts and so forth. But I think it's going to come down to something's going to come into her life, and she's going to be like, well, this is like. No.
And for us, do we back out? We just let her go?
You know, I can speak this on both ends. My mom supported me. My dad didn't understand.
And kind of the reverse.
Yeah, well, then
He's
that's
kind of support her, but I understand what she's doing from the long run.
right.
Yeah.
Right. They never got it all, but they all came to the competitions and they supported me and this and that. He didn't quite get it, but it was a good phase, and I learned so much. I learned a lot of people, learned tons of people, and I will tell you this: one of my hardest rotations. Now that you mentioned that, when I was going through undergrad and graduate school, was working with a female athlete. Boy, they know their stuff. They know their stuff. Look, I tell you what, and they were set on being right. And I was like, oh. We're not debating oriented. No. Right. I mean, the long term, right? You're always worried about long term with these competitions when you do these hormonal shifts. You worry about osteoporosis coming at an earlier age, right? You worry about amenorrhea, possibly having a child later on down the road. Right. You know, those types of things are really the immediate focus. You know, there has been instances where it's been like people have heart attacks because metabolic systems go not right, if you will, hydration issues. So there's all kinds of things that could go wrong. So, I mean, hopefully it's a phase. I mean, if she does it and isn't, well, right, no, I know. It can still be a pastime. I mean, but once she gets working, you'll find out it's hard to kind of get everything into life.
Right.
You know?
Well, and I do have to say,
prioritizing.
she has stayed natural.
Yeah.
She's stayed away from the drugs. She does acknowledge really healthy things. It's just, I'm just hoping the competition part ends.
Joe, I wanted to add real quick, and then we'll go into another question with Allison.
Yeah.
So the good thing is that she has youth with her, right? Because think about when you were young, right? Because I look at my stepson who's 12. and he eats McDonald's and I want to like hurl when he's eating it, but he's young, right? We ate that stuff when we were young and we bounced back. So the body's resilient when you're young. So that's good that she's 24 going through this. And like Joe said, something's going to happen where she's going to get older and she's going to realize, like, now if we ate Big Mac, you know, you'd be like hauled up in a corner for like a week after you ate that. So as she gets older, she's going to find that those things that she's doing now, they're not going to work. So, and I know this because I competed on a national level in martial arts when I was younger before I blew my knee out and needed to teach because I couldn't compete. And in the female division, there's just 2 weight classes. There's heavyweight and lightweight, right? But heavyweight was like if you're 130 and higher. But you could be with someone 200 pounds, right? So what would I do? I would starve so I could be in lightweight because I didn't want to be up against a 200-pound woman. So I would do this. So I would not eat, and I would, you know, not eat carbs, and I would do this. So when they weighed me in, I would be this weight class. I couldn't do that now. You know, I pass out trying to do that now. So the cool thing is that she's young and she's resilient and she'll bounce back right now. But like he said, put her around the right people so she'll get the information. You're educating her so she'll know. Because eventually, she's 24 now, 30, that's not going to work. You know what I mean? So once she's going to be like, okay, I need to eat more because I need to get through the day, you just giving her that information is going to work out. So.
Okay, great.
Allison, you have a question?
Yeah, Monique, you touched on this a little bit, but my question kind of 2 parts. What role has faith played in your life, and how much value do you place on it?
No, 100%. Like when I literally every night I do not go to bed without getting on my knees and praying. I have to stop getting on my knees and pray. I'm a huge Joel Osteen fan and listen to him every chance. Got a chance to meet him, and I'm still floating from that. But faith is huge because when I'm confused, I need to go to something, and sometimes people don't have your best interest and you don't know what their intent. So mine is my faith. So that's 200%. Not to offend anyone that doesn't believe in that, but for me, that's my go-to. And I don't push it on anyone else because I know people have their different beliefs. But I know when I have a question mark where I need to go. And for me, it's the Bible. For me, it's on my knees to pray because you never know why people are coming to you or what the intent is behind it.
I'd like to know what.
Does anyone else share? I mean, what role does faith and how do you want to share? How do you define faith? Because I think around the table, there's very different definitions and practices.
Recently, when I went in that black hole, I kind of came out definitely more spiritual. I will say that I now put all of my faith into the universe. So whatever source, God, whatever it is, it's all the same, whatever you want. But for me, I do now put all of my trust into, my faith now. I know that I'm going to get there because it has my back, So, I won't say that this has been something that I've been doing all along. This literally happened after my breakup. And then I was like, where am I going to go? And then I was like, everything happens for a reason. I totally believe that. And so this was just another point for me to go into the right direction because I feel like I do need something, for me to believe in, for me to get to this next level that I am going for. So.
Yeah.
For me, faith is a very extremely personal thing. Within my family, my husband and I'm Presbyterian. My husband is actually Ukrainian Catholic. He goes to churches with the onions on top of it. So very different thing. So we don't attend church together. We actually currently do not attend church. That's a whole other story. But for me, it's a very internal, very personal thing. I do a lot of time journaling and a lot of time praying, not necessarily on my knees, but I have a lot of conversations with God. Usually in the mornings before the kids come downstairs, and I'm just kind of sitting quietly. It's that quiet, contemplative, it's a hard word to say, time. And I have found that simply even just the journaling and whomever it is that I'm writing to, and sometimes they're letters to specific people, sometimes it's letters to myself, sometimes it's letters to God, sometimes even whomever it may be, but it's getting the junk out of here and out into, as you say, the universe kind of helps clear it all. I also, a dear friend of mine is actually a Reiki master, and Reiki has actually helped tremendously. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but that has been a tremendous help within my, actually more so on the business end of things, because it's, you know, carrying a business while trying to be a mom, trying to be creative, trying to be there for all these other people, both clients and family. And I kind of found that the Reiki is just, even if it's not within a session, it's just that hour of just, it's you familiar with Tai Chi? Okay. It is body energy. And Reiki is, it's a Japanese form. It's kind of the same thing, where somebody lays their hands on you and kind of channels the energy. And it's, there's many different ways of looking at it. But, anyway, bring and yeah, there you go.
Time for one quick discussion.
As entrepreneurs and business owners, I would like to know at what point did you feel confident that you were going to succeed? You know, so many business owners want to just give up. So many business owners want to give up and say, you know, I don't know if this is going to work, or is it really going to be successful, or what makes you, at what point did you decide it was worth it to keep going and to get to the point where you are now?
And I'll add to that, because that's such a great question. And what do you do in order to stay in that place? Because I think the reality for what you're going to answer and what you're going to share is that it's an ongoing process, right? You don't decide.
Think about it. When did I know? Like, make sure.
When did you say?
Like what? Like some people want to give up at the 3-year point and the 5-year point, but after what point in your business did you say, I'm gonna make it, or you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know that you ever know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know that there's no, like, I mean, there's why I do what I do. I do what I do because not because of the martial arts, but because they know that they can do something that someone told them they couldn't do. So if someone says, "Oh, I'm going to open this," because Sensei opened a all-female school. I got unemployment for 2 years, and I don't know how that worked out. So that I didn't have to work in the
corporate world anymore, which is awesome. And like she was saying, I mean, really, I love helping people. I want people to feel how I feel when I was before. So what wakes me up is like having a smile, having a client email me saying, hey, like I lost some weight today, or you know, it's away, but it's like all this work. Why would I do that? You know? So then you have these conversations with yourself, like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Let me figure out why am I doing this, and then it's because for the people, for me. I mean, it's really that is why I'm here. And that's why I'm doing even training for the Olympics for everybody.
Penny because I want to come twice a week. Or who was in cardiac to the hospital, but called me angry because he was being loaded into an ambulance and missing his body's lesson. That's true story. Everybody knows Joe. He's 85. Religiously twice a week. And that's why I come here to know stronger and move and feel better.
So I work for the second largest employer in Maryland. So, you know, it's fun slightly. It's like when you get up in the morning and you have a purposeful step. And as long as you continue to have that drive, then you can pretty much accomplish anything. As long as you're stepping in that positive direction, other things will come that would be greater and things that you have to overcome to get to that next point where you want to be at. And I think that in my life, I just want to keep on doing more for people who have less. I try to do that every day when I'm able to do my career now. And down the road, maybe something even bigger than what I'm currently doing. But I think as long as you have that passion and you take that first step every day and say, you know what, I'm doing what I like to do, I think it'll all work out.
All right, thank you guys for participating. I want to wrap up by also acknowledging our sponsors who are in the room, who also, each of you are going to get a gift bag on the way out. So there's a lot of goodies, and some of the like the Reiki and some of the ideas that were shared tonight. There are actually people in this room who could help you on that health journey and even on your life journey. So I really highly recommend you take time tonight as you're sort of soaking in on whatever spoke to you, whatever you needed to connect with, and go through that goodie bag and reach out and just start a conversation with the people who are in that bag. So can I just have the sponsors who are here, can you just stand up and in your really loud voice, just share your name, who you are, and a little brief what you do before we close out this evening.
Oh yeah, you can have the mic. You can have the microphone, sure.
My name is Diosa. My company is Diosa Incorporated, and currently it's marketing and business development for small businesses. But my passion is writing and telling people stories in all kinds of creative ways. So something that I have been stuck in, since we're being real and transparent, is getting this idea of a a magazine featuring entrepreneurs and telling their stories off the ground. And it will be called One Magazine, justonemagazine.com. And I look forward to hopefully telling the stories of all these great people up here on the panel and anyone else who's out there who wants to just share your story, just come talk to me.
Thank you, Megan. I'm Josie Thompson, Josie Designs, and I'm just passionate about making things look their best or look better. So, yeah, that's what I do.
Good day, everyone. I'm Sherry Sternberger. The information in the bag will say Almost Energy. I'm a holistic healer for people and animals. But I'm stepping forward and really rebranding as Wellness by Sherry. I'm a healing touch practitioner. It's a little different than Ray. I also do aromatherapy. I'm a therapist. I'm a acupuncturist. So I have a lot of energetic tools in my food basket for all the animals in here. Either fluffing or feathered. I take care of them all, and I love them all, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. It was very heartwarming. So
thank you very, very much. I'm Pat Patterson, Leasing Enterprises Incorporated, all about building stronger lives. I'm a certified personal trainer for individuals and for businesses. So we want to get a little stronger inside, outside, all around. I'm the person you want.
Pat is relentlessly positive. If you happen to need that in your life, just so you know. My name is Julia Berzon. I have sort of two gigs going on. The first one is called Diamonds in the Rough, RUFF, and based out of Crofton, and I'm a dog parent. So if you have four-legged friends who are running your life, and you might want to take back your kingdom, you can give me a call or you look at my website. It's Diamonds in the Rough. Well, just Google it. Anyway, and but the one that you're going to get a flyer about is my new thing. It's called Monk My Stuff. And it's organizational service. So whether or not you have piles of your kids' artwork from the past, 12 years, or someone selling a house, and if you have stuff that you need to organize, or even if you have an office or processes, or I did one for a guy doing an experiment. I did experimental design, so it's like everywhere from small scale to stuff like that. You can give me a call.
Thank you.
And most recently, I've started sharing essential oils with others, and so that is why I'm here. I do like to get anybody back, but it's kind of a niche for me. I really enjoy sharing them, and have found that I've done an awful lot of my friends, and I love connecting with other people, which is why I'm taking it. So to meet new faces, and really, so thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to ask the panel to scoot on over to the back because we're going to close and, oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, sorry.
I am a John holistic health practitioner, speaker, and writer, and I help people to connect with themselves on a deeper level and enjoy their lives and program them. And I've been doing what's going for 20 years, tonic illness and my work for the last 10, and it really helps people to know themselves on a deeper level and deeper to what's called the web of life, that everything's connected, that everything has meaning. And so I help people connect the dots to find space inside them.
All right, so the panel can disperse. I'm just going to have some closing remarks, and you're going to see why I'm asking the panel to leave in a second. All right, so my closing remarks is that I no longer believe that we can become fearless. I only believe that we can feel the fear and do something anyway. As leaders, whether you're leading your family, you're leading your friends, your community, or in your business, I want you to think about what are the limitations on building trust and credible relationships if we continue to dehumanize and leave out the imperfections of the journey. If what we think is what we become, then what do we become when we think there's something wrong with us? Because we're comparing our private realities to someone else's public highlight reel. Thank you all so much for sitting on the ground with me and looking at me and looking at our panelists and letting us tell you that we see you and we hear you and we're ready when you are to lock arms and rise up together. I'm gonna finish with a song, not me singing. In case that scared anybody. It's not a singing voice. I'm gonna finish by giving you a chance to listen to a song and welcome you to just sit as long as you feel like sitting and letting it soak in and absorb. Do you feel like moving and getting up and getting a drink and getting more food, or just simply leaving? That's up to you. The song will be about 4 minutes. And just thank you so much for sharing yourself with us. Next cards were just for you in case you had notes and questions you wanted to add. So I'm gonna start our song, and you will each be getting an email letting you know about our next event and a survey, because I think feedback is very important. All right.
Living life on the merry-go-round. You can't find a fighter. But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Mountain, we gon' walk it out. Mountain, and I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the age. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet. It feels hard to breathe like I am. Mountain, breathing through the street. Mountain, and I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. Yeah. We will rise. We will rise. So we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. spite of the ache, I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up. I like the waves will rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Feel free to stay and eat, and you guys bring food home, please, to your family.
Yes.